Does it feel like in general over the last few years that you've just kind of, seen like the world beginning to understand your culture more because there's more relevant rappers coming from up north and doing podcasts, doing social media, whereas like previously maybe there was just so much more light on dudes down here?
Yeah.
And when you thought of like California Mexicans, like you just kind of thought about people from down here, and like
100%.
it took longer for that up there to be like exposed more.
Right. And we had a stigma, right? And you was kind of part of that stigma too, where you talk about we're like a third world country up there. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, and really we got all the game, right? How we talk, how we deal with these, and we were able to blend the cultures, you know what I'm saying? To where it's we are who we are and we're unapologetic, you know what I'm saying? And we with these dudes and we're not going to pretend like we don't, you know what I'm saying? We're going to just own it. We're just going to, we are the quintessential Chicanos, really, because the Chicano culture has evolved. You know what I'm saying? It's really the dudes down here who fight it, you know what I'm saying? That are the anomaly, bro. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, they're just this tiny little pocket of hardcore cholos that think that how raza overall act and how they incorporate regular American culture and black culture into their actual lives, just like every other human being, right, is somehow less than, even though it's the prevailing Chicano culture right now. It's just the evolution of.
But can you see their side of things where it's like, I've definitely had this conversation with dudes who are like, we don't need to say the N-word. Like, that is black culture. We have our own culture. If you want to use slang, like, use shit that relates back to Mexico. Use shit that relates back to our culture. You don't have to constantly be borrowing from black culture.
Right, but culture is what it is. You know what I'm saying? There isn't a idea that leads it, right? It is just how we live.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have to say this needs to be our culture or this doesn't need to be our culture, then it's inauthentic, right? If somebody is living with 3-4 individuals, male, female, and they start adopting a thing and then that group grows, right? This is a natural thing that happens. And if everybody sees that and says this is what it is, and I understand the negative connotation for nigga as a word specifically, right? And so I think just that's up to the individual to decide. You know what I'm saying? To decide if whether he's black, brown, white, and that's because of the effect that blacks have had on the culture overall, right? And so is if they see it as negative, that's between that individual and the individual saying it, right? And that's how and then if that individual and his friends decide a certain way and it affects more people, that is the evolution of culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you affect. I understand why it's a terrible word, right? If it's used in that derivation, right? But I also understand how it's a positive word if it's used in a positive way.
Yeah, like it's weird for me because when I lived on the East Coast, when I lived in New York and shit, surrounded by Puerto Ricans and Dominicans who said the N-word constantly, like it's nothing. So I never really even thought twice about it. To me, it was just always like, yeah, Hispanic people say it too.
Right.
But then now I feel like you see more and more conversation where you see black people genuinely like offended by Hispanic people saying it. Like, what would you say to someone who tried to make that argument?
So if I'm having a conversation with you, right, and you're a black dude, and you say, bro, can you not say nigga, right? And I say, okay, I'm trying to have a conversation with you, right? And my point is more important than the point of me using specific words, right? As long as there's a line drawn, right? You can't tell me don't say water bottle, right? Don't say, hey, can you not say water bottle? If that's just a regular word, the nigga word is very specific, right? And so if I'm having a conversation with a brother and he's like, hey, bro, no, then guess what I'm gonna do? I'm trying not to offend the dude. I'm trying to keep having a conversation. If he approaches his, you say, right? Like you say to me, right? Then that's a whole different line he's trying to cross, right? If you're gonna try to punk me in and not saying it, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to approach you accordingly. I'm going to address that accordingly. But if he's just respectfully asking me to not say it, right? Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to respectfully not say it. That's just as a man, just as a grown man. That's how it goes. But as far as me changing my vernacular for the sake of appeasing a group of people that I don't personally know, whether no matter what the word is, you know what I'm saying? I'm probably not going to do it because the brothers I hang around with don't really give a
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And Northern California is its own culture as it is. Like, yeah, you have the subsects of like Chicanos, blacks, Asians, Filipinos, whites, but Northern California as a whole is derived of all of them. So everybody, our culture has a little bit of everything in it. It's a melting pot culture. It's something that you don't see prominently in LA.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
but it's there. Even in the early 2000s, when I met Southsiders and blacks from Compton, South Central, Watts, I used to come to Watts a couple times a month from Arizona. I lived in Arizona for a while, for like a year, right? And a little over a year. When I come up here, they be hanging around each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and they definitely weren't saying nigga at the time down here. So, but up there we were. And that's just the truth. And we still do. You know what I'm saying? We understand it makes some people mad. You know what I'm saying? And on an individual basis, if somebody talks to me about it, then I
but we still
that.
understand and respect and love our own culture as far as being Chicanos.
Right. And the two are not mutually exclusive.
Right.
Right. Because the reality is a lot of people, especially doing podcasting, don't understand the culture in the way that I do. Right. And I love my culture. You know what I'm saying? It's all blasted all over me on just a superficial level, but it's also, I've done stuff to actively push my culture forward. You know what I'm saying? And I still do. I do the marches. I do all the stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? That whatever, you know, I'm with it. Whatever we doing, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? But I even though I've fallen back from saying nigga a lot,
Yes.
Yeah, in the music and everything, right? But it's more from a marketing perspective, right? It's because I got stuff going on to where I'm trying to appeal a little bit more to a broader group of people. And it just makes sense.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
You know, it is weird. I feel like we're at like almost a weird time now because I feel like it's kind of becoming more normalized for even white people to say it. Like, I see streamers and shit saying it all the time now, like white streamers, that it's kind of shocking to me because like my whole life that's just kind of been like grounds for destruction of your whole life if you're a white boy running around saying the N-word, you know? And yeah, like really like almost every Hispanic person I know says it freely.
And in SAC, bro, it's even more. It's probably down here. Then probably down here, it's even more.
Even the percentage of black dudes who give a is like,
and what it seems like,
maybe 2%. I don't know. Super small percentage.
What I see in like the podcasting and all this shit is like they always talk about how Mexicans really say it more than their brothers. You know what I'm saying? Really, they be saying it so much.
Yeah, sometimes they do. Yeah.
But, so I understand how it could be frustrating.
Yeah.
Right. But they got to see it every day. They got to hear it in music from these dudes. It's not like hella brothers listening to cholo stuff anyways.
But then you got internet characters that overdo certain things for likes and
put
views,
extras on
and
it.
then you got real life people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you kind of like, you kind of see the difference the way people act when they're on podcasts as opposed to when they're off.
You gotta just be real with yourself, bro.
Yeah.
Like
I'll be you at all times.
I've been to parties and seen like a group of like black and white chicks all hanging out, sing along to a song, singing the N-word like crazy. And then I just get this realization of like, oh, right. Like the internet is different than the real world.
The real world, bro. That's true.
You've had tryouts. So you've seen characters come in and out, you know, doing tryouts for podcast hosts.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
So you see how people are in real life as opposed to when they're trying out, you know, they switch comes on and it's a character. And you got people like, you know what I mean?
And the thing on Twitter or whatever is that the most opinionated people have the loudest voices. So it's like, even if it's a relatively small percentage of black people that give a fuck about Mexicans saying the N-word, it's like, those are going to be the most amplified voices. Right. The one person who's offended by oh Jeezy saying the N-word or whatever is going to be the person who gets the viral tweet, whereas the other 99% of people who don't really give a are not going to be heard, you know? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. If you enjoyed that clip, make sure you become a member for only $5 a month. It really helps support us, and it also gives you early access to all of our content. Let's go.